Good evening. I hope I'm audible and visible. Good evening. Use the chat box. Use some of the manners you've learned in primary and say good evening. Primary school, right? Good evening. Good evening, guys. I hope all of you are doing well. How was your Saturday? Did you have college today? Did you have what did you have today? You were at home, you were studying, you were in college, you were playing. What are you doing? Good evening. Good evening. College. You had college. You had classes. Okay. Right. I hope we are ready to go. So yesterday we were doing dissolution of a partnership firm, right? We already did how many? Three, four questions. Day before yesterday, I think I did two. Yesterday I did three. So we've done some of the questions from your ICA material. We'll do one today, and then we'll go to piecemeal distribution and dissolution. We have just two questions on piecemeal distribution in your ICI material. We'll do both of them. But before we go to piecemeal distribution, we'll do one more question from dissolution. There's an illustration 5. Interesting question. So please do it with me. If you have any doubts, any questions, please ask when we are discussing the question itself. Shall I start? Shall I start? Shall I start? Yes. Illustration 5. Tell me the page number. I want more interaction on the chat box. I'll be a crybaby if you guys don't. I'll keep cribbing, if you don't interact with me on the chat box. Because otherwise I'll feel very bored. I'll feel like I'm talking to myself. So that's why I want interaction. I want you guys to interact. Okay. Say anything, like page number. Okay. You don't know what to say, so just tell me the page number of the question we're on. So 10.222. Okay. Right. Let's start. 10.222, page number, illustration 5. Meshes X, Y, and Z, who were in partnership sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 2:1, respectively, had the following balance sheet on December 31, 2022. So the capitals of X, Y, and Z are given 29,200, 10,800, 10,000. Z's loan is there. Loan from Mrs. X is there. So Z's loan will be transferred to the partner's capital account itself. He's a partner. Loan from Mrs. X. So I'm assuming I'm being a little sexist over here, and I'm assuming that this Mr. X is a boy, he's a man, he's male, and this Mrs. X is, I mean, that's what the question assumes as well. Mrs. X is not this person, this is Mr. X. Mrs. X is his wife, right? So Mrs. X. 10,000. So this is partner's spouse. This will not come in partner's capital account. This will be written in the realization account itself. Partner's loan will come in the partner's capital account. Partner's spouse is the loan is the realization account. Sunny trade creditors realization will be fixed assets, stock, book debts, provision. Okay. Cash advance to Y. Y is a partner. Again, partner's capital account only. Debit side only now advance it'll be adjusted against his capital in the partner's capital account itself. The firm was dissolved on the date mentioned above due to continued losses. After drawing up the balance sheet given above, it was discovered that the goods amounting to 4,000 have been purchased in November 22. Okay, either was a purchase ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು and had been received, but the purchase was not recorded in the books. Okay, fixed assets realized 20,000. So there's an error. Okay, before we even go for dissolution of the firm, when the books of accounts is tappa so that will have to be rectified. This sentence we will have to read and we will have to rectify it and see the impact on the balance sheet. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, so I hope everyone got what I said. Let's understand what this error is. We will rectify it in the books because dissolution of the firm can happen only when the books are error free, right? There must not be any mistakes in the books. We can't just go ahead and do dissolution like that. So we will have to see what mistake it is. We will have to rectify it. And then we will have to go ahead and give adjustments for dissolution. After drawing up the balance sheet given above, it was discovered that goods amounting to 4,000 have been purchased in November 22 and had been received, but the purchase was not recorded in the books. It's an error of complete omission. So there was a purchase of goods which was not recorded in the books of accounts. For the guys who just joined, we're doing illustration 5. I just started reading the question. This is on page number 10.222. Okay, so here in this question, there's one unique point that the books have an error. So the error is one of the purchases is not recorded. So now how this would have impacted our ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಇದನ್ನೀಗ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾನು ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಓಕೆ, ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಬೈ ಡಿಫಾಲ್ಟ್ ಅಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆನೆವರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸಿಂಗ್ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ P2P ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಫಾರ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್? ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸಿಗೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಎಂತದ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಇಸ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಡೆಬಿಟ್ to creditors account, right? This entry had to be passed, has not been passed. 4,000 rupees. This was the journal entry which had to be passed in the books, but they have not passed the entry in the books. So now how to give effect to this in the balance sheet? Direct balance sheet alli hege idakke effect kododu anta discuss ಮಾಡುವ. ಈಗ purchase account ಇಲ್ಲ balance sheet alli. So where did purchase account go? Purchase account would have been transferred to the profit and loss trading account. Profit and loss account ಗೆ transfer ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೇವೆ. And their profit would have been determined. So if you remember in rectification of errors, we have discussed this. This will go to the profit and loss adjustment account again. Now adjust ಮಾಡೋದು profit and loss adjustment account. If there's a nominal account in the journal entry, in the rectification entry, if the books are already closed, the books are closed in this question because they have already drawn the balance sheet. So P&L adjustment account ಗೆ effect ಕೊಡೋದು. P&L adjustment in the effect ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ? Where will the this also we have discussed in rectification of errors. P&L adjustment in the ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ? It is transferred to the partners capital accounts, right? Partners capital account ಗೆ ನಾನು transfer ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. So basically this will be debited to the partners capital account. Very simple logic. I'll discuss this in one more way. This was the technical thing what I just discussed, but in very simple way I will tell you. Sir, purchase entry ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, expense entry ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. What would this do to the profits? Will it increase the profits or will it decrease the profits? Think and answer. Purchases, expense entry ಹೊಡಿಲಿಲ್ಲ, expense ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಹೊಡೆದದ್ದು. Expenses ಒಂದು 4,000 ಇದೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಬುಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮರ್ತು ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿರ್ತದ, ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿರ್ತದ ಆ ವರ್ಷದ್ದು. What would have happened to the profits? Profits ಆ ವರ್ಷದ್ದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಹೊಡಿಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಹೊಡಿಯೋದಿದ್ರೆ ಎಂತ ಆಗ್ತದೆ? ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಆ ವರ್ಷದ್ದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ? ದ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ವುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿನ್ ಮೋರ್. ದ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ವುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿನ್ ಮೋರ್. ಸೊ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಆ ವರ್ಷ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಕಿಂತ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ 4,000 ಇದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸೇ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ನಾವು ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಸ್ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಅದನ್ನು ರೆಕ್ಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಹೇಗೆ ರೆಕ್ಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಅಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅಷ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾನೀಗ ಅವರ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಗೆ ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಟು ದೇರ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್. ಸೊ ನಾವು ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ದಟ್ 4,000 rupees ಟು ದ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ. ಆ 4,000 ಅನ್ನು ನಾನೀಗ XYZ ಗೆ ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡೆಬಿಟೆಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಮಿಷನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ 4,000. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ 25,000 ಉಂಟು, ಬಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ 29,000. ಒಂದು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಎಂಟ್ರಿಯೇ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ 29,000 is the actual purchases. And this is not the actual capital. Actual capital is lesser than this. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಉಂಟು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಇದು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಹೊಡೆದದ್ದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ಸೊ actual capital is lesser than this. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ನಾನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅವರ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಗೆ. 4,000 ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾನು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. We will do it. It's easy. Once you understand the logic, the process is simple. Just understanding what I said now in the last 5 minutes is important. Fixed assets realized 20,000, stock 21,000, booked at 2,500. Similarly, the creditors allowed a discount of 2% on average. The expenses of realization comes to 1,080. X agreed to take over the loan of Mrs. X. So partner has taken over a loan. So X has agreed to take over his wife's loan. Basically, that's what I told you, right? X Sidhu, Y Sidhu. Y is insolvent and his estate is unable to contribute anything. What do we do if a partner is insolvent and unable to contribute anything? Garner versus Murray. We will have to consider uh, work according to the decision of Garner versus Murray. So what we will do now is whatever that Y's deficiency is there, that will be debited to the remaining solvent partners in their capital ratio. And this is not their actual capital. The actual capital Allah. The actual capital is something else because ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ adjustment ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಉಂಟು. So first we will have to do that. Then we'll have to find the actual capital. Then we will go ahead with the question. So let's draw the normal ledger accounts. What are the ledger accounts we draw? We draw a realization account, a partner's capital account, and we also draw the cash or bank account. Cash account here. Are you all with me or am I talking to myself? All of you are here, right? You're drawing up the ledgers. Yes. Realization account first. What's your name? Udupi. I'll change your name. What's your name? UDP U052U. If you want, if you're comfortable with that name, it's fine. It sounds like Tesla, this one, Elon Musk's son's name, he has a name like that. Partners capital accounts. How many partners? 3 partners, no? Yes. Ready? Are you all ready with the ledgers? What are the names of the partners? XYZ. XYZ. Cash account, right? Okay. Now, first, before I start solving the question, before I start dismantling the balance sheet, in this question, there's one error to be rectified. So let me do that. So the error should be rectified in 2 accounts. One is partner's capital account will be debited, and the other one is in the creditors account, but we don't drop the creditors account, right? Creditors account has to be increased. We don't do it. So while writing in the realization account, I'll write the revised creditor balance. I'll not write it as 25,000. I'll write it as 29,000 in the realization account. But when I'm doing the partner's capital account, I will adjust it in the partner's capital account. So I'll do two parts of partner's capital account. See this. Opening balances. Let me rectify the partner's capital account first. There's an error. The partner's capital account is overstated. So I have to debit it and reduce it. So how much should I debit? Two creditors. At purchase entry, omitted purchase entry, right? 4,000 in what ratio? What is their profit sharing ratio? 2:2:1. So what's the amount you get? I don't have my calculator. I don't have my mobile phone also today. So sold everything. So please tell me how much is this? 4,000 in 2:2:1 ratio. So is it 1,600, 1,600 and 800? Okay. Now I will calculate the balance. This should be the correct balances in the creditor accounts, not the one given in the balance sheet. This is the actual balance in the creditor account. What is it? To balance carried down. 29,200 minus 1,600 is how much? 27,600. And this is 9,200. No. Yeah. And this is also 9,200. Have I got this right? Yes. So this is the actual balance in their account after rectification. Okay. Now we can go ahead with our regular dismantling of the balance sheet and we can start doing the problem. So remember, while writing the creditors, write it at 29,000, not 25, because it needs rectification. Okay. So capital accounts, we'll finish the liability side. We've already started the liability side. So capitals are written, Z's loan, partner's loan at us. So it will be credited to the partner's capital account. By Z's loan account, 5,000. Loan from Mrs. X. This is partner's wife's loan. It will come in the realization account. 10,000. Sunny trade creditors will also come in the realization account. 25,000. Assets, we have fixed assets. 40,000. Stock. Oh, creditors. How much should I have written creditors? 29,000. I was just checking you guys. None of you passed the test. I told you 3 times before this that you should write it at 29, 29, 29, and none of you corrected me. That means none of you are attentive. All of you have been labeled as useless by me. To stock account. 25,000. Book debts. Then what you label. Doesn't matter only. We will sleep on our bed and listen to your class. Buy provision. On the credit side, we write the provision 5,000. We were typing the answer. Okay. Cash will come in the cash account. To balance brought down 1,000. Advance to Y will be debited to Y's capital account. 4,000. Advance payable towards okay, paid to Y. Correct. It's recoverable from Y. So debiting is capital. Advance to Y. 4,000. Okay, we are done with dismantling the whole balance sheet. Next, fixed assets realized 20,000, stock 21,000, booked at 20,500. So buy bank, buy cash, no bank account, buy cash. Fixed assets 20,000, stock 21,000, book debt 20,500. Any other asset is left? No, that's all done. Total is up 41,000, 61,500. Next, similarly, the creditors allowed a discount of 2% on an average. You can post this by cash and no cash account के post Madibadi to realization account. Assets realized 61,500. Liabilities, creditors again to the payment ಮಾಡಿದಾರವರು to cash, realization account debit to cash account. Creditors gave a discount of 2%. Remember, creditor amount is 29,000 into 98% ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. How much will you get? 29,000 into 98%. 2% ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, discount ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು ನಮ್ಗೆ. So what is the amount you get? 29,000 into 98%. 28,500. No, 420. 28,420. Is that right? Yes. Is there anything else? The expenses of realization. So realization expense 1,080. There is one more liability, loan from Mrs. X. X agreed to take over the loan from Mrs. X. So that won't come over here. That will be coming separately. So 29,500 is the total. Correct? No? Okay. 29,500, is that right? Yes or no? Yes. Fine. Okay. Next, post this in the cash account credit side by realization account, liabilities and expense paid. 29,500. Mrs. X's loan was taken over by X. So the journal entry for that is realization account debit to X's capital account. So X has agreed to take over the loan at face value itself, 10,000 by realization account. In X's capital account, we have to post it. $10,000. Total up the realization account and find out the, is it loss or profit? Realization loss or profit? Please find it out. Total of the realization account, 1,19,500 is the total of the credit side. So it's a realization gain, is it? No. 129,500 is the total of the debit side. I'm mentally calculated. So it's a loss, I guess, right? Debit side is 119,500. 40, 90, 119, 119, 129,500. The other side is 49, 39, 50, 44, 44, 105,500. Good evening, Abhilash. Welcome. 129,500 is the debit side total. Deepak, you missed that 10,000. So it is a loss by realization. How much is the loss? Sorry, by partner's capital account. What is the loss amount? 29,000. I hope everyone is sitting and doing it on your study table, not sleeping on the bed and listening to me. If you're sleeping on the bed and listening to me, then all the best. You will be sleeping there only after 2-3 years also. So don't be so rude. You will be sleeping there only, but I'll be rude. I'll complete what I was intending to say. Sleeping there only after 3-4 years also as a jobless person. So if you have any purpose, get up, sit on the study table and study. You're supposed to study now. You're not supposed to sleep there like one lazy loser. If you're still sleeping on the bed or if you're not listening to the lecture seriously, then God bless you, even after this much. Right? God has to bless you, otherwise, nothing will happen. You thought not doing anything. My partner's capital account, 29,000. 24, is it? 24, Okay. So how much do you get? What is the amounts? The amounts were right, 9,600, 9,600 something. Yeah. Okay. Post this in the partner's capital account, debit side. Okay. Now comes the closure of the partner's capital account. Let's be careful. One of the three guys have gone, one of these three people has gone bankrupt. Who is that? Who has gone bankrupt? X, Y, or Z? Y has gone bankrupt, right? Yeah. Y is insolvent. Okay. So let's close Y's account first. Be very careful when you do this. So wise account only now. Wise account first. 13,600 is the total of wise account. Debit balance, receivable. He's not able to get that balance. How much is the balance you get? 4,400, is it? Balance in wise account is 4,400. Yes. Why is not able to get anything, right? His estate is unable to contribute anything. So what are we going to do about this 4,400? We're going to transfer this to the remaining two partners who are X and Z. We're going to transfer it to their capital account. And how are we going to transfer it? And what ratio am I going to transfer it to Y is capital here? X and Z, what ratio am I going to debit? Gardner versus Murray. What does that law say? Gardner versus Murray case law says capital ratio. So now capital ratio, here they are following fluctuating capital method or fixed capital method. Which method are they following? You tell me. Are they following fixed capital method or fluctuating capital method in this question? What do you think they're following? What do you think they're following here? They are following fluctuating capital method. Okay, correct, Nishita. They're following fluctuating capital method because there's only one capital account. Fixed capital is the account. It's the capital method current account. Only account onto that means they're following fluctuating capital method. So it will be taken in this ratio only. But this capital is not proper, right? E capital sari illalla. Omission. This is the correct capitals of the partners. Opening capitals are these. So we'll have to consider this ratio 27,600 and 9,200. The capital ratio is 27,600 is to 9,200. I'm not taking the one in the balance sheet, that capital I'm not considering. Why am I not considering that capital? Because that's not correct. So there was a omission on the expense book ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಡಿಟರ್ಮೈನ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಮುಂಚೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾನು ಆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ರೆಕ್ಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಅವರ ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್, ಅದೇ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಫಾರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ. So this is the ratio 27,600 and 9,200. X and Z though. So can you tell me what is the calculation? 4,400 into 27,600 divided by total up 36,800, I think. And 44,400 into 9,200. I'm just distributing that 4,400 in their capital ratio. The ratio is actually 3:1. But anyway, now maths ಅಷ್ಟು ಹುಷಾರಿಲ್ಲ sir. So ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ. ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಗೊತ್ತುಂಟಲ್ಲ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಟೋಟಲ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡಿನಾಮಿನೇಟರ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. 3,300 and 1,100. Okay, now total up the other two partners accounts. ಬೇರೆ ಎರಡು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ ಇದ್ದು ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. 37,600, 14,200. To bank cash, to cash account. Debit side, credit side is more. Credit side is more. I'm sorry. What is that? What was that, Sati? 47,200. 37,600. Right, no? What I've written is proper, no? Balancing figures. What is the balancing figure? 24,700 and 3,100. No. 8,300. Put this in a cash account. Does it tally? If yes, what's the total? $62,500. In this question, only unique thing was that error. Error rectification was the only unique thing. Otherwise, this question was actually easier than the practice question we did yesterday. Practice question 3 was a very good question. Okay, so there's one question, illustration 8, I think, last illustration. It's in the case of an LLP, okay? There's no unique point relating to LLP. So it's a regular question. So you can try this question as homework, illustration 9. LLP and the Kotudara, but the whole solution is normal, just like how we do realization account, partners capital account, bank account, you have to do it. So whatever balance here in this case, there is a current account also. The current account will be transferred to the capital account that we know, no? We'll transfer it to the capital account and you can do the rest of the questions normally, how we normally do it. Hage madudu. Can you try this question, illustration 9 on your own? It's a normal question, regular question. There's no there's no insolvency also. There's no bankruptcy of a partner and all, just regular question. Let's try this question, okay? This you will try. Now I'll go to piecemeal distribution. There are two or three questions. I don't think this is very important, at least for your attempt, but anyway, it's there in the textbook. We will not take any risk, any chances. So I'll just discuss those two questions and finish dissolution there. Okay. But what I'm feeling is very important from your exam point of view is the resolution questions that we've been doing so far. So major chunk of those questions are questions in your textbook case from the regular dissolution, realization account, partners capital account, and all. So that seems very significant for your exams as well. So concentrate more on that. But piecemeal is there. Little technical it is. Honestly, CA foundation ಗೆ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದು ಬಟ್ ಉಂಟು ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೊ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ it briefly. I will tell you how much you understand good, then you can solve and you can understand. It's not that difficult also, but you have to practice on your own. ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ I'll not be able to convince you completely with this part. So let's start. Piecemeal distribution ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಗ ಡಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಫರ್ಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾನು ಸೇಲಿಗೆ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಣ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ನಾನು ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಉಂಟು ಅದನ್ನ ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ದ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ವಿ ನೋ ದಿಸ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ, ಬಟ್ ಐ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡೋದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕೊಡೋದು, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಟು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್. ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಇದು ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಎಂತಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಲೋನ್ಸ್ ಎಂತಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಐ ಮೀನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಹಣ ಉಂಟು. ನಾವು ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಈಗ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ 10,000 ಇರ್ಬೋದು, and creditors we might have a liability of 8,000. I thought. Now, in reality, what happens is each in another cash into. I have cash of only, let's say, 2,000 rupees. I'll take this creditor as 5,000 for easy calculation, and this as 1,500. Now, take a cash 1,500 rupees into. How much cash do I have? 1,500. In fact, I had cash of 2,000. Now, 2,000 into cash. ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಇರೋದು ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ. ಬೇರೆ ಎಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಉಂಟು ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎಸೆಟ್ಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಎಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾರಿ ಹಣ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಗೆ ತಂದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ. ಇಫ್ ದೇ ನಾಟ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಓವರ್ ದ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್, ಜನರಲಿ ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಈಗ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾರಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಣ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದಾದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ 2,000 ಉಂಟು, ಬಟ್ ಐ ನೋ ದಟ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ರಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಖರ್ಚು ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಫುಲ್ 2,000 is not available. Literally 500 rupees will be kept aside for realization expenses. So right now I have 1,500 cash available for payments again. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಈ 1,500 ಅದು ನಾನು ಇವರಿಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್. ಈ ಇಬ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಿ ಸರ್? ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವರ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಾನು. ಐ ನಾಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಲೋನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬರುವ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇವರಿಬ್ಬರದು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಲೋನ್ ಉಂಟು, ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಉಂಟು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇವ್ರದ್ದು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ 10,000 and 5,000 ಉಂಟು ಇನ್ ದ ರೇಷಿಯೋ. ಸೊ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಇಸ್ 2:1 ರೇಷಿಯೋ, ರೈಟ್? 10:5 or 2:1. So I'll pay 1,000 and I'll pay 500. So we still have 9,000 to be paid to the bank loan and 4,500 is outstanding towards the creditors. ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಎಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಈಗ ಒಮ್ಮೆಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾರಿ ಹೋಗುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಕೂಡ ನಂಗೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹಣ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಐ ಮೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್, ಐ ಮೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಐ ಮೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮಷಿನರೀಸ್, ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ಸ್, ಐ ಮೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಓವರ್ ನೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದ? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಐ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಶ್? ದ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಅ ಬೈಯರ್, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ನೆಗೋಶಿಯೇಟ್, ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಹಣ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬರುದು. ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಲಾಂಗರ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಸೊ ನಂಗೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಣ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆಸ್ ವಿ ಗೆಟ್ ದಟ್ ಮನಿ, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಕೀಪ್ ಪೇಯಿಂಗ್ ದೀಸ್ ಗೈಸ್. ಇವರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾವು ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಂಗೆ ಪೀಸ್ ಮೀಲ್ ಐ ರಿಸೀವ್ಡ್, ಓಕೆ, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ನಂಗೊಂದು 6,000 ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ 6,000 ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಅಮಂಗ್ ದೀಸ್ ಟು ಗೈಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇವರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ 13,500 ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟಲ್ಲ, 9,000 and 4,500. ಸೊ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇನ್ ದೇ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರೇಷಿಯೋ? 2:1. 4,000 and 2,000 ನಾನು ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ಇವರಿಗೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇವನಿಗೆ 5,000 ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು, ಇವನಿಗೆ 2,500 ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ, ಈವನ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಪೇಯಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮಚ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ರಿಸೀವ್ಡ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತ್ತು ನಂಗೆ. ದಿಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಫಾರ್ 10,000. ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ 10,000 ಕೂಡ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇವರಿಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್ 5,000 ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು, 2,500 ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು. ಸೊ 5,000 and 2,500 ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಸೆಟಲ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಪೇಯಬಲ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿಸ್. ಆರ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್? ಆರ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ ಫಾಲೋವಿಂಗ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್? I am recovering money from one side and I am giving it to the other side. Liabilities repayment ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನಾನು. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೆಟಲ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ನಾವು ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸೇ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಲೋನ್. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಲೋನ್ 1,000 rupees ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಲೋನ್ ಉಂಟು. ಈಗ ಈ 10,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಐ ಪೇಡ್ 7,500 ಟು ದೀಸ್ ಗೈಸ್. ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ 2,500 ಉಳಿದಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಆ 2,500 ಅನ್ನು ನಾನು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 1,000 rupees ತೆಗೆದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಲೋನ್ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಲೋನ್ ಕೂಡ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಐ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್. Second installment, I had received 10,000 rupees. In that 7,500 was paid to the bank loan and creditors. 1,000 was paid to the partner's loan. So I still have 1,500 rupees. Correct? No. That 1,500 rupees will be paid to the partner's capitals. Towards partner's capital. So hege payment madudu. Ali different methods to calculate how you can pay to the partner's capital. So we have two methods over here. One is the highest relative capital method. And the other one is the maximum loss method. Highest relative capital method and maximum loss method. So we will discuss both of these methods and understand the answer will be same under both of these methods. The answer will be same. We will learn it through an example from the ICI material itself, how this is done. Okay. So let's take one question. This one, illustration 7. Okay. The following is the balance sheet of ABC on 31st December 22 when they decided to dissolve the partnership. Pay proper attention, okay? Creditors is 2000, A's loan is 5000, A is a partner, capital 15,000, 18,000, 9,000. Sundry asset 48,500, cash is there 500 rupees. The assets realize the following sums in installments. So, five installments only, E assets, sundry assets, total assets have been sold, and we've got this much money. Okay. The expenses of realization were expected to be 500, but ultimately amounted to 400 only. So now expense realization into 500 rupees at the side only, but actually expense 400 matra bandide. So how this works is, ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಹಣ ಕೊಡುವಾಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ತೆಗಿತೇನೆ, ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಇರುವ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ತೆಗಿತೇನೆ. ಈ 500 rupees ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇರಬೇಕು ಸೈಡ್ಗೆ 500 ಫುಲ್ 500 ಇಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಆಲ್ದೋ ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಂಗೆ 400 ಮಾತ್ರ ಖರ್ಚಾದದ್ದು 100 ಉಳಿತದೆ. ಆ 100 ಅನ್ನು ನಾನು ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಯು ಸಿ ಓವರ್ ಹಿಯರ್ this one mark, what does it say? It's given in your textbook. Include the savings and expenses, that is 100, 500 and minus 400. So here ಈ 20,100 ಅಲ್ಲಿ 100 rupees ಅದು ಸೇವ್ ಆದದ್ದುಂಟು, ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಸೇವ್ ಆದದ್ದು ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಡ್ತವೆ. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಐ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಕೀಪ್ 500 rupees aside for expenses. ಈಗ ನನ್ನ cash box only 500 rupees unto. Okay, I have 500 rupees in my cash box. I will say 500 only 500 ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸೈಡ್ಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟೆ. ಈಗ ಎಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಖರ್ಚು ಎಸೆಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು actual expenses only 400. So I still have 100 rupees left. That will be distributed at the end. Not now, that will be at the fifth installment ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಡ್ತೇನೆ 100 rupees savings. Show how at each stage the cash received should be distributed between the partners. They share profits in the ratio of 2:1. Okay. Simple. ಈಗ ನಾನು orally ನಿಮ್ಮೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ whatever we can discuss. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏಸ್ ಲೋನ್ ಉಂಟು, ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಉಂಟು. ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ there is creditors, ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಉಂಟು 2,000 rupees, ಏಸ್ ಲೋನ್, capital account. So first priority will be given to creditors. ಇವರದ್ದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಫುಲ್ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದ್ರ ನಂತರವೇ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಟು ಏಸ್ ಲೋನ್. ಏಸ್ ಲೋನ್ ಫುಲ್ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದ್ರ ನಂತರ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್. ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಎರಡು ಮೆಥಡ್ ಉಂಟು, ಎರಡು ಮೆಥಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡುವ. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಮೆಥಡ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಈಗ ತಗೊಂಡು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಐ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್, ಈ 7,000 rupees ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಇನ್ ದ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ 2,000 and 5,000, and then only I can go to the capital accounts. Okay. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ನೋಡುದು 500 rupees ಉಂಟು, ಮುಟ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ 500 ಯಾಕೆ ಮುಟ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ? ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಗೆ ಬೇಕು, ಫುಲ್ 500 rupees ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಗೆ ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಈ 500 rupees ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡುದಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 500 ಉಂಟು, ಬಟ್ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು, ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸಿಗೂ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಈ 500, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ನಾನು 500 rupees ಸೈಡಿಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್. 1,000 rupees ಬಂತು. Who will I give this 1,000 rupees to? ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಾನೀಗ 1,000 rupees? Guys, you answer. Who should I give this 1,000 rupees to? Should I distribute it proportionately, or should I give it to one person only? Whom should I give this 1,000 rupees to? Very good. This 1,000 rupees fully the ಹಾಗೆ 1,000 rupees ಅನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದು ನಾನು creditors ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. Creditors ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. This will be given to creditors. ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ? 2,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ 1,000 ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಯ್ತು. ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು ಅವರಿಗೆ? 1,000 ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ 1,000. ಓಕೆ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 3,000 ಬಂತು. ಹೌ ವಿಲ್ ಐ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ದಿಸ್ 3,000? ಹೌ ವಿಲ್ ಐ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ದಿಸ್ 3,000? ಈ 3,000 ಅನ್ನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ನಾನು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ 1,000 ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. 1,000 ಟು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್, and still 2,000 rupees is left with me. That 2,000 rupees will be given to A's loan. A's loan ಗೆ 2,000 ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಾನು. Have you all understood this? So ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಫಿನಿಶ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಇದು ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಎಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. A's ಲೋನಿಗೆ 5,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ 2,000 ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಯ್ತು, ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ 3,000 ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 3,900 rupees ಬರ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು, 3,900 rupees ಬರ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ A's ಲೋನ್ ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ 3,000 ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಗಿವ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು A's ಲೋನ್. And balance how much? 900. Now this will be given to partners. This will be towards the partners capital accounts. In ಉಳಿದದ್ದು ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ partners ಗೆ ಕೊಡೋದು. 6,000 and 2,100. Both of this will go to partners. Is this clear? Have you all followed this? The fourth and fifth installments will completely belong to the partners itself. ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, partners ಗೆ ಕೊಡೋದು. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ 900 rupees partners ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು. Okay, we will have to do one table. ಒಂದು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಟೇಬಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So please write statement showing distribution of cash. Okay, the format. We'll need a particulars column. One second, I'll just keep on. Okay, sorry for that absence. Okay, so I was telling you the format. Okay, so first you need the amount realized here. Then you will have the creditors, A's loan, then three partners, no? A, B, and C gonna ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅವರ capital ಹಣ. So one particulars column and totally 6 column towards the payments. Shall I start? Yes. This is the amount realized column. This is creditors. This is partners loan. This is A, B, and C capital. A is capital. B is capital and C is capital. Okay, please write the balances first. Creditors was how much balance? 2,000, 5,000, 15,000, 18,000, and 9,000. Are you all ready? Yes. Now, first, cash available. How much cash is available in the balance sheet? Never forget this. Okay, see the realizations ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ ನೋಡಿ, 500 rupees ಉಂಟು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಇಡಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ 500 rupees ಅಂತ ತೆಗೆದು ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ನಾನು 500 rupees ಇಡಬೇಕು. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ 500, so nothing that won't be realized at all, that won't be given to anyone, so I'll not write it only. Now comes the first realization. Realization 1. How much have I realized in realization 1? I have realized 1,000 rupees. Directly, this 1,000 rupees will be given to creditors. What if there was one more bank loan? Creditors and bank loan were there. What we will do in that case? That time proportionately divide ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. In their outstanding proportion divide ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ತೆಗೆದು creditors ಗೆ ಕೊಡೋದಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲ. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ proportion ನೋಡಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ divide ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So creditors ಗೆ ನಾನು 1,000 ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. Next, realization 2. How much am I realizing in the second realization? ಎಷ್ಟು ನಾನು realize ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ? 3,000. ಇದೀಗ ಹೇಗೆ divide ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ? I will give 1,000 remaining. This you can do in your calculators, right? 2,000 and 1,000 ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ, so remaining 1,000 will be given to creditors, and the remaining 2,000 rupees will be given to the partner's loan. There was, whose loan was it? A's loan. A's loan ಗೆ ನಾನು 2,000 ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. There's still an outstanding of 3,000 rupees in A's loan. Creditors is complete over here. Payment towards creditors is complete. A's loan ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ 3,000 rupees ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು. ಈಗ 3,900 rupees ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ 3,000 rupees A's loan ಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. Are you all following this? Are you all understanding what we are doing? Yes. Is this clear? 5,000 till 2,000 ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗಿದೆ, so the remaining 3,000 is paid now. How much is left now? How much is left in this third realization? There's still some cash left with us, right? How much cash is left with us still? 900 rupees. Whom do we give this 900 rupees to? ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡುದು? ಯಾವ proportion ಕೊಡುದು? So under highest relative capital method, we have to do one more table now, okay, as a working note. So this table is almost complete. 2 more realizations ಬರೀಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕು ಜಾಗ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Okay, now we do one more table. Statement showing distribution of cash among the partners. Statement showing distribution of cash among the partners. Remember, 900 rupees is left in the third realization. ಅದು partners ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಅದು ಹೇಗೆ ಕೊಡುದು ಅಂತ highest relative capital method follow ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ನಾನೀಗ. Let's learn under highest relative capital method. What are the names of the partners? A, B, and C. We need a very long table. This one will be a long table. A, B, C. Statement showing. Leave some space in that previous table. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಗ ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು because we have to write the ultimate table is this only, but the calculations will happen in this table. Highest relative capital method ಅಂತ bracket ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿ. Okay. ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಅರ್ಥ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ನೋಡಿ. Now, for example, let's say I and Deepak are partners, okay? We are equal partners. We are equal partners. But I have invested 20,000. Deepak has invested 10,000. We are equal partners. 1:1 is the ratio. But capital investment is minus 20,000. Deepak's is 10,000. So, ಈಗ realization ಅಲ್ಲಿ 900 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಉಳಿದಿದೆ. Is it fair to divide it in our profit sharing ratio only? Take 450, others take Deepak ಗೆ 450 ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. Is it fair? ನಾನು ಬೊಬ್ಬೆ ಹೊಡೆಯುವುದಿಲ್ವಾ? I will say that, boss, I have invested more. Are you following? I have invested more. Although our profit sharing is 50-50, but investment ನಂದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಉಂಟು. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಅದು ಹಣ ನಂಗೆ ಕೊಡಿ. ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ 10,000, 10,000. And then you start dividing in our profit sharing ratio. I have no problem. But till it becomes 10,000, 10,000, you have to pay my extra. I have given 20,000 capital in the firm. Deepak has given only 10,000. So you can't say that every realization will be divided in the profit sharing ratio. It's easy to do like that, but that won't be fair on the person who has invested more capital in proportion to his ratio, profit sharing ratio. So ಅದಕ್ಕೆ highest relative capital method ಅಲ್ಲಿ we find out who has invested excess in relation to their capital. So let's do it. It's very easy. It's not complicated. Pay attention. Capital ಎಷ್ಟು ಉಂಟು ನೋಡಿ. What is the capital? 15, 18, 9,000. This is their capital. Correct? No. 15,000, 18,000, 9,000. What is their profit sharing ratio? What is their PSR? 2:2:1. 2:2:1. Now, what we do is we calculate capital per unit of PSR. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವನಿಗೆ 2 ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ, ಇವನಿಗೆ 2 ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ, ಇವನಿಗೆ 1 ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. One share he has got. He's got 2 shares. He's got 2 shares. So we calculate per share. Per share. You can write over here. Capital per share of PSR. This is the PSR share. So how much will it be? 15,000 divided by 2. This fellow has paid 7,500 rupees ಲೆಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ 1 unit purchase ಮಾಡಿದಾನೆ. Total 2 units purchase ಮಾಡಿದಾನೆ ನಾವು at 15,000 capital. This guy has paid 9,000. See, this guy has paid extra, right? And the other guy has also paid 9,000. Are you all understanding what I did? All I did was capital divided by PSR share. Capital divided by PSR share ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ನಾವು. So I got per unit. Now what we do is we calculate what would be the capital. What would be the capital if this was the base, the least amount in the tegolteve. So capitals taking A's capital. You have to take the least capital per share. You have to take it as the base and calculate how much capitals they would have got. So 7,500 into 2 for A. He would have got 15,000. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ತರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವ. And this person also same 7,500 ತೆಗೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. I'm taking A's capital as the base to 15,000. So our kuda, if I had taken A's capital as the base, B also should have got how much to the firm? He should have also got only 15,000 rupees to the firm. But he has got how much into the firm? He has invested 18,000 in the firm. So he has invested 3,000 rupees extra compared to A. Are you understanding? He has invested 3,000 rupees extra compared to A. So A ಗೆ ಕೊಡುವ ಮುಂಚೆ B ಗೆ ಆ 3,000 ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್. ಅದ್ರ ನಂತರ A ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. A ಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ B ಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ 3,000 rupees ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ನಾವು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅವ comparatively more 3,000 rupees he has put extra into the firm. PSR avandu matte idu same untu. B and A, the PSR is 2:2 only. But B has invested more money into the firm. He has invested 3,000 rupees more into the firm. So that 3,000 needs to be paid first. And this guy, also same thing, 7,500 into one share for him. Because he's got only one share, right? 7,500. Therefore, excess capital. This is 1. This is 2. So do 1 minus 2. A has not invested anything extra. No extra. B has invested 3,000 rupees extra. 18,000 minus 15,000. C has invested 1,500 rupees extra. Right? If I take that 7,500 as the base, this is what I get. 3,000 rupees B extra tandane for me. C could have C one share sikkid. If I took A's capital as the base, C should have got only 7,500 rupees as capital into the firm. But he has got 9,000. He's got 1,500 extra. So only 1,500 first before I give anything to A, 1,500 needs to be paid to C. So now idu ಈಗ 3,000 ಮತ್ತೆ 1,500 ಕೊಟ್ರೆ B ಮತ್ತೆ C ಗೆ first ಗೆ that time it will be 15,000, 15,000 and 7,500 left. So that time it will be fair. Starting ಇಂದಾನೆ ಅವರು PSR ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಸರಿ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಇವ್ರದ್ದು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇವನ ರೇಷಿಯೋಗೆ ತಂದು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಬೇಕು. It should be in the relatively it should be the same ratio amounts ಕೂಡ. So ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. Now we compare B and C. B and C ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ extra capitalist ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು, but comparatively have they made, see what is their profit sharing ratio? Their profit sharing ratio is 2:1. So this excess is also in their profit sharing ratio only, 2:1. So ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ನಾವು. So we don't have to do anything here. This much, it's in their profit sharing ratio only, 2:1. We'll do one more question, you'll understand this better. Next ಈಗ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಾನು. So now 3,000 and 1,500. So what it means is the summary is very simple. First 4,500 rupees, this much, will be paid to B and C in their 2:1 ratio. In their 2:1 ratio, I will pay it. In 2:1 ratio. About 4,500, whatever we realize, will be paid to all A, B, and C in 2:1 ratio. ಇಷ್ಟೇ ನಮ್ದು. ಅವರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಹಾಕಿದವರಿಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಅವರ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದ್ರ ನಂತರ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡಿ ನೀವು. ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿರೋದು ಬಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಿ. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅವರು 3,000 and 1,500 ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್. ಸೊ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಕೊಡಿ, 2:1 ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಿ. ಅಪ್ ಟಿಲ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ 4,500. ಸೊ ನಾವು ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಹಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ 4,500 rupees ತನಕ, ಟಿಲ್ 4,500 rupees, it will be given only to B and C. A ಗೆ 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ 4,500 rupees ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ 4,500 ನಾನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಉಳಿದದ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಉಂಟಲ್ಲ 4,500 ಇದು ಮೇಲೆ ಎಂತ ಉಳಿತದೆ, ಎಂತ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಅದು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೆ ಮೂವರಿಗೂ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ ಇನ್ ದೇ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅವರ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅವರ ರೇಷಿಯೋಗೆ ತಂದು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಬೇಕು ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ 4,500 ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಟು ಬಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಿ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ 900 rupees ಉಳಿದಿದೆ. ಹೂ ವಿಲ್ ಐ ಗಿವ್ ದಿಸ್ 900 rupees ಟು? ಈ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 900 rupees ಉಳಿದಿದೆ. Who will I give this 900 rupees to? I will give this 900 rupees to only B and C. Not just C. B and C. That's what I told you. Read this summary properly. The first 4,500 will be given to B and C in their profit sharing ratio. Ibrigu kodbeki. Ibraddu kuda excess capital unto. So 900 rupees will be given to B and C in 2:1 ratio. So what will be the amount that I will have to give to B and C? 900 into 2/3. A ಗೆ 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. Until and unless that 4,500 excess is paid, I will not give anything to A. What are the amounts you get? 600 and 300. Next, realization. Now remember, ಎಷ್ಟು excess ಇತ್ತು total? ಟೋಟಲ್ 4500 ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ 900 rupees ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ 3600 ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಗೆ 6000 rupees ಬರ್ತದೆ. This we will learn how to distribute. We'll do one table for this, simple small table. Distribute working note. Distribution of second installment. Sorry, fourth installment. Distribution of fourth installment. Distribution of fourth installment. Fourth installment list hana barta untu. How much money am I getting in the fourth installment? I am getting 6000 rupees in the fourth installment. Should I give this 6000 rupees to all the three partners in their ratio? The answer is no. Our profit sharing ratio dalli divide madudalla 6000. So what we do is, in that excess untalla innu kuda kodlike ಎಷ್ಟು excess ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, total 4500 excess capital ittu B in the B and C. In that we have already paid 900 rupees from the third installment. So 3600 rupees excess capital is still there. So this summary you read, you will understand this summary. First 4500 rupees will be paid to B and C in their ratio 2:1. Next, above 4500, we settle adumela 4500, then we have to pay to all three partners in their profit sharing ratio. I hope everyone is paying attention. Guys, listen to this. Idu matte nan YouTube alli nodtene, innond martene, textbook tegondu odtene, agudilla. It's very it's a little tricky. It's a little hard also. So listen to this properly. Nan first heluvaga eshtaagtade ashtu keli. I told you I will not be able to convince you completely. Ad neeve ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ redo ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತೆ redo ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. See how I did it. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ creditors ಮತ್ತೆ ಏಜ್ ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಡುವ ತನಕ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇರೋದು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ಪೇ ಅಟೆನ್ಷನ್. ಈಸಿ ಉಂಟು, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೀಡು ಇಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಲೇಟರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ first 6000, sorry, first 3600. How did I get this first 3600? 4500 was the excess, total excess capital 4500 ittu. In that 900 has been paid in second and third installment. I paid this 900, correct? No. So 3600 iga kodlik untu B and C ge hogtadidu in their ratio 3600 into 2/3, 3600 into 1/3. What is the amount you get? Idu khali B and C ge kodudu 3600. How much amount do you get? Three 3600 into 2/3 and 3600 into 1/3. I'm waiting for amounts. 2400 and 1200. ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ this was total 6000 ಇದ್ದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದು, ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ 3600 B and C ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್? ನೋ, ಟೋಟಲ್ 4500 was excess capital. First 4500 excess capital ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಯ್ತು. Now it is all above 4500. ಇನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಇದ್ದದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಯ್ತು. ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಬಿ ಎನ್ ಸಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇದ್ದದೆಲ್ಲ ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇನ್ನೀಗ ಹೇಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ 6000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ 3600 ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ how much is remaining? Remaining 2400. This will be given to all the partners in their profit sharing ratio. 2400 into 2/5, 2400 into 2/5, 2400 into 1/5. Is my calculation correct? Yes, 960, 960, 48. So full second, ಈಗ ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೀಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಎಗೆ 960 ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಗೆ 3360 ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಸಿಗೆ 1680 ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. Fourth installment was distributed like this. Fifth installment ಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದು 2:1 ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲೇ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಇನ್ನು ಎಂತ ಹಣ ಬಂದ್ರು ಕೂಡ 2:1 ರೇಷಿಯೋ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ 4500 ಕೊಡುವ ತನಕ ಮಂಡೆ ಬೆಚ್ಚ ನಮ್ಗೆ. ಅದು ಖಾಲಿ ಬಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಿ ಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಉಂಟು ಫರ್ಮಿಗೆ. ಅದೊಮ್ಮೆ 4500 ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಯ್ತಾ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಉಳಿದದೆಲ್ಲ ಮೂವರಿಗೂ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಈಸಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ 4500 ಮಂಡೆ ವೆಚ್ಚ ಇರುದು ನಂಗೆ, ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇರೋದು 4500. ಸೊ ಆ 4500 ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಖಾಲಿ ಬಿ ಎನ್ ಸಿ ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ಇನ್ ದೇ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ. ಆಗ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇದ್ದದೆಲ್ಲ ರೀಪೇ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಂತ ಬಂದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಮೂವರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಇನ್ ದೇ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನು ಫಿಫ್ತ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದು 2:1 ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಎ ಬಿ ಸಿ ಗೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಯಾರ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೆಟಲ್ ಆಯ್ತು. 4500 ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ನಾನು ಸೆಟಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ರಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್ 4 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ 960 3360 1680. Realization 5, no working note required, direct, because excess and all is repaid. ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ನೋಟ್ 1, ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ನೋಟ್ 1, ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ನೋಟ್ 1. I mean directly you can write working note 1. Okay. Realization 5, 20,100 ಮೂವರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಎಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಈಗ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ 20,100 into 2/5, 20,100 into 2/5, 20,100 into 1/5. 20,100 ಬರ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದು ಮೂವರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡುದು ಇನ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ. 8040 8040 4020. ಡನ್. ಇನ್ನು ಹಣ ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಎಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ. ಸೊ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಇಫ್ there is still some balance payable to them. This will never be paid to them. Balance unpaid. Creditors is fully paid. You can put all of this in brackets. Okay, creditors is fully paid, nil. This is also paid. Ace capital, how much is still to be paid? In the put ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು Ace capital? 15,000 minus 960 minus 8,040. 6,000. ಇಷ್ಟು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಲಾಸ್. 18,000 minus 600 minus 3360 minus 8040. This is also 6,000. This should be 3,000. Yes. See, if I had paid, this is in their PSR now. The loss is in their PSR now. 6,000, 6,000, 3,000. ಈಗ PSR ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ is 2:2:1. ಅದೇ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟು ನೋಡಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಡಿವೈಡಿಂಗ್ ದ 900 rupees ಇಂದ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದಲೇ ನಾನು 900 rupees ಅನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿಯಾದ್ರೂ ಅವರ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಬಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಿ ಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಲಾಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮೋರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಬಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅವ್ರು ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಏಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅವ್ರು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುದು. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಲಾಜಿಕ್. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆ ಲಾಸ್ ಮೂವರು ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲೇ ಬೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಉಂಟು ಅದೇ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ಪೇಡ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ. ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದಟ್. The balance unpaid should be in their profit or loss sharing ratio itself. Are we done? Yes. Okay, take a 10 minutes break. Today, no 15 minutes, 10 minutes break. Okay. And I will restart at 7, 13 minutes break. 7:15 ಗೆ restart ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. Take a break. We'll start at 7:15. Shall we start? Another question is a good question. Illustration 8, page number 10.2. What? Illustration 8. 10.231. 10.231. Illustration 8. A partnership firm dissolved on 30th June 22. Its balance sheet on the date of dissolution was as follows. So capitals ABC 76,000, 48,000, 36,000. Loan accounts B 10,000, partners loan. Sundry creditors 30,000. Cash is there 10,800. Sundry assets is there 1,89,200. The assets were realized in installments and the payment were made on the proportionate capital basis. Creditors were paid 29,000 in full settlement of their account. So creditors at 30,000 it is there, but they're saying only 29,000 was paid. So 1,000 rupees is discount. Expenses of realization were estimated to be 5,400, but actual amount spent was 4,000. So while doing, look at the cash. Do we have cash? Yes, we have cash 10,800. In this, 5,400 will be kept for expenses. Remaining 5,400 will be paid to the liability creditors. First payment money, but uh, actual was 4,000. So the remaining, how much provision we have, how much money we have kept aside initially 5,400, but we are paying only 4,000 to them actual expense. So how much do we stand to gain in that 1,400 rupees that will be distributed to the partners at the end? Last ticket 1,400 ಇದಕ್ಕೆ add ಮಾಡಬೇಕು 1,400 will be added to this 80,000 is realized, but to that we will add that 1,400 also. They have not added already. In the previous question they had added that 100 rupees, right? They had given a note 20,100 including that 100 rupees, but here they have not added, so we will distribute 81,400 last installment, not 80,000. This amount was paid on 15 September. They have only given the 1,400 rupees difference was paid on, that 4,000 rupees was paid on 15 September. So the remaining 1,400 will be distributed. Draw up a statement showing distribution of cash, which is realized as follows: 25,200, 60,000, and 80,000. Okay. Shall we start? The partner shared profits and losses in the ratio of 2:2:1. Prepare a statement showing distribution of cash among the partners by highest relative capital method. So we will be doing two tables like in the previous question only. The first table will be for calculation of distribution of cash among all the liabilities, and that is the main table. Then the second one for relative capital method, partners you can distribute ಮಾಡೋದು ತೋರಿಸ್ತೇವೆ. How many liabilities do we have? Same, 5 liabilities, 2 external liabilities, 3 partners capital accounts, 1 column for realization, six columns, 6 amount columns I need. Statement showing distribution of cash. One second. The screen is gone. It will come back. One second. Tell me if the screen is visible. Is it visible now? No. Now, yes. It's okay. Okay, first we have some cash balance with us 10,800. Can I distribute all of this 10,800? Can I give all this 10,800 to the creditors? Creditors, you first put like I'll not give all 10,800. Also remember, okay, first write balances. Balances due. Write the balances due. I'll write this 30,000 as it is, but I'm not paying them 30,000. There's a discount of 1,000. So actual payable is how much to the creditors? 29,000 is only payable. Okay, they have given over here. Creditors were paid 29,000 in full settlement. Next loan is 10,000. These loan. Then capitals are 76,000, 48,000 and 36,000. Shall I start? Okay, cash balance. We have some cash balance with us, right? We have cash balance of 10,800, but I can't give all 10,800 to the creditors. In that 5,400 will be provision for expense. So remaining 5,400 will be given to creditors. Next, the first realization, 5th of July. This is the first realization, 22. On your calculators only you can calculate. Creditors ಗೆ ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು 29,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ 5,400 ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಯ್ತು. How much more to be paid to the creditors? How much more should I pay to the creditors? Total realization is 25,200. So in 29,000 is the payment amount, right, to the creditors. In that 5,400 cash ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಯ್ತು now. So now how much more should I pay to the creditors? 23,600. Do we still have some money left in this realization? ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟಾ 25,200 ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆದದ್ದು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ತೆಗೆದು 23,600 ನಾವು creditors ಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. Do we still have some amount remaining? Yes. How much is remaining? 1,600. Who will we give this to? Bees loan. Partners ಗೆ ಕೊಡುದಿಲ್ಲ. Bees loan. Partners loan account ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. 1,600. Next realization is on 30th June. 30th August, sorry. 30th August 22. We have realized how much? 60,000 rupees. 60,000 rupees I have realized. Who will I give this 60,000 rupees to? In this 60,000 rupees, first B's loan. Creditors ಗೆಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ, creditors close ಆಗಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟು. B loan ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. B loan ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು ಎಂದು ಕೂಡ 10,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ 1,600 ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗಿತ್ತು. So still 8,400. How much am I left with now? 60,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ? I still have 60,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ 8,400 ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಯ್ತು. Now I have 51,600 rupees. This 51,600 rupees will be given to whom? Whom will we give this 51,600? To the partners. To the partners. But to the partners, I will not give directly our profit sharing ratio. we will first find out ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಉಂಟಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್. ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಈಗ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ PSR ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡೋದು. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ that we will do a working note. Statement showing repayment of capital. This is the main statement in these problems. E statement ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಲ್ತ್ರೆ then everything else is easy. Learn to do this one, especially in this question. It's very interesting. ABC balances. What are their capital balances? 76, 48, 36. Capital balances ಅಂತಾನೆ ಬರೀರಿ. $76, 48, no. 76, 48, and 36. Okay. Okay. What is the profit sharing ratio? Profit sharing ratio in the 2:2:1 now? Yes. 2:2:1. Per unit capital. Per unit of PSR capital. ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತದೆ? You just have to divide 76,000 divided by 2, 38,000, 24,000, 48,000 divided by 2, 36,000 divided by 1, 36,000. Now see whose is the lowest here. Whose is the lowest here? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದು lowest ಉಂಟು? We take that lowest as the base. B's is the lowest. So 24,000 into 2, 48,000. 24,000 into 2, 48,000. Are you all following? Are you all with me? And this guy 24,000 into 1. He has only one share, right? 24,000. So ideally their capitals must be this much. If everyone was following the same ratio, it should have been 48, 48, 24. B the base agite kontre ishte capital ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕಿದ್ದದ್ದು. 48,000 A ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕಿದ್ದದ್ದು, B 48,000 ಹಾಕಿದಾನೆ, C should have put 24,000. But there is excess capital. Giving numbers. How much is excess capital? A this to excess capital. A has invested 76,000. His actual capital should have been only 48,000. So if he had taken B as base. So how much extra has he invested? He has invested 28,000 extra. Correct? No. B has invested nothing extra. B the base ತಗೊಂಡದ್ದು ನಾವಲ್ಲಿ. C has invested 12,000 extra. So now listen to this. Is this clear? Till now everyone has followed. Yes or no? Ishtu excess capital unto A du matte C du. Now before I give B anything, A and C should be paid this much, 28,000 and 12,000. Total 40,000. First 40,000 ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಇಬ್ರದ್ದು right ಇರ್ತದೆ. A and C will have full right on that first 40,000. Once that 40,000 is paid, then ABC. All three will get a right. But first A and C. But even in that you see over here, what is their profit sharing ratio? Our profit sharing ratio is 2 and 1, right? A and C do. Between A and C, it's 2 and 1. See, this excess is also not in their ratio. It's not in the ratio. Here also excess ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ excess ಉಂಟು A do. So excess capital, I'll write the PSR here again. And excess capital per unit of PSR. Per unit of PSR. 14,000 and 12,000. Therefore, if I take C's capital as the base, taking C's capital, excess capital as the base, the capitals would have been 12. Lowest capital here is 12,000. A matte C du madhyadalli 12,000 is the lowest excess capital. So 12,000 and 2, 24,000. And this is 12,000. Same calculation. I read it again. I repeated the same iterate ಮಾಡಿದೆ ನಾನು 24,000 and 12,000. Excess of excess capital. So you 28,000 excess capital ittu, but his excess capital should have been 24,000. So 4,000 is over and above that. This is nil. So see this, listen to this. I hope everyone has understood it's similar to the previous problem, right? Till here it's similar to the previous problem. But in this question, there is one more unique situation that A and C has excess capital. 40,000 is extra, yes, but it is not in their PSR. Or PSR a little ali kuda A du ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ extra ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು ನಂಗೆ. A is 28,000 it looks a little extra, although he has 2 units. 14,000 ಲೆಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ extra capital ಉಂಟು ಅವನಲ್ಲಿ. So that is why we read it again and we found out that excess capital of A is 4,000 rupees. So now what the repayment will work like this. The repayment will work like this. See this. The logic is same. First 40,000 will be paid to A and C, but our 40,000 and our PSR will be kodudalla. First 4,000 pay to A. This 4,000 excess, first extra of extra capital, 4,000 extra iddadu A ge kodudu. Next is to 24,000 and 12,000 excess capital, 36,000 A and C in their ratio 2:1. It will be paid in their ratio 2:1. Above 40,000 ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಇಬ್ರದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ then everything will be paid to A, B, C above 40,000, whatever is there above 40,000 in their profit sharing ratio. 2:1 profit sharing ratio ದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. So listen to this. Capitals ಉಂಟು 3 ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ ಇದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಹಣ ನಾವು, because extra capital ಉಂಟು. So extra capital find out ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. Extra capital was 40,000 rupees compared to B. A and C had excess capital of 40,000 rupees. Our 40,000 rupees ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ we found out that A had 4,000 extra capital compared to C. So first 4,000 will be paid to A. First 4,000 will be paid to A. And then the next 36,000 will be paid to A and C. 2:1 ratio. And their ratio, their profit sharing ratio between A and C. Now here 40,000 extra capital iddadu payment ಮಾಡಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲ 3 ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರಿಗೆ in their profit sharing ratio we have to keep. So this is how you calculate this. So now can we come back to the question? Now how much is remaining in this second installment? ಎಷ್ಟು ಹಣ ಉಳಿದಿದೆ in the second installment? I have 51,600 rupees left. So our 51,600 ಹೇಗೆ divide ಮಾಡೋದು? So please write calculation of distribution of Second installment. Three partners. This sentence you have to be very clear. First 4,000 will be given to A fully. Next 36,000 will be given to A and C. Allige excess capital kottagayitu elrige 40,000 excess capital repay ಮಾಡಿದಾಗಾಯ್ತು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಂತ ಉಳಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ABC ಗೆ 2:2:1 ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಾನು. Second installment. So how much is left in second installment? 60,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ 8,400 ನಾನು 8,400 no? Yeah, will be paid to B's loan. So 51,600 is left for distribution. First 4,000 will be given to A directly because his excess of excess capital is there. On extra capital mele capital untu. So that is why 4,000 avniki kottene. Next 36,000. Next 36,000 will be paid to whom? It will be paid to A and C. 24,000 and 12,000 in the profit sharing ratio. I understand this is a little tricky, but I hope everyone is trying hard to understand it. And some of you hopefully are successful also in understanding it. 12,000. Above, do we have anything left over 40,000? Above 40,000. Do we have anything more than 40,000? So now 51,600 only. 40,000 was excess kottaitu. How much do we have? We still have 11,600 rupees in this installment, right? That will be given to all the partners. 11,600 into 2 by 5. 11,600 into 2 by 5. 11,600 into 1 by 5. ಇದು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡುದು. ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಬರುದು. In their profit sharing ratio. So what is the amount you get? 4640, 4640, 2320, is it? Yes. So the installment ಹೇಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು? Total up 28,000 plus 4640 is 32,640, 4,640, 14,320. Are my totals proper? This should come, total should come up to 51,600. Is this proper? Yes. Write these amounts 32,640, 4,640, and 14,320. Okay. One more installment is there, 15th September. Remember 15th September. In the eldrige kodudu innenta headache illa. Second installment ಮಾತ್ರ excess of excess ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. ಇನ್ನು ಎಂತ ಮಂಡೆ ಬಿಸಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಂಡೆ ಬೆಚ್ಚ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ನು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುದು, ಎಲ್ಲರದ್ದು ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, 80,000 ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು, 1,400 ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಉಂಟು. ಸೊ 81,400 unto ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ. Okay, I have this much. That 1,400, 5,400 side ಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟದ್ದು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 4,000 ಮಾತ್ರ ಖರ್ಚಾಗಿದೆ. So ಉಳಿದದ್ದು ಈಗ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಟೋಟಲ್ 81,400 ಎಲ್ಲ A, B, C ಗೆ in the profit sharing ratio ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುದು. What is the amount you get? Calculate profit sharing ratio ದಲ್ಲಿ 81,400 into 2 by 5, 81,400 into 2 by 5, 81,400 into 1 by 5. Tell me the amounts. 32560, 32560, 32 16280. Balance is unpaid ಎಷ್ಟು ಉಳಿತದೆ? This should be in the profit sharing ratio now. Balance is unpaid. What is the balance is unpaid? $11,000. No, that's not possible. Should be in their profit sharing ratios, aren't we? Is it 10,800, 10,800? 5,400. Yes. 2:1 ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟು ನೋಡಿ ಅದು. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡುದು ಅಂತ ಕಲಿಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಒನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಡೂ ದಟ್, ದೆನ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಶೋರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ ದ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. Are we done? Is this done? Okay, so we have finished here this whatever two questions for them we've done. So dissolution is almost done. One question I've given you as homework. There's one more method. What is that method? Maximum loss method that I will do in the next session. Okay, first digest this. Maximum loss is much easier than this. It is super difficult, so that's why I did it today. I'll leave you now. We will continue in the next session. Okay. See you in the next class. I hope you understood this. You have to practice this again, right? See you in the next class. One small part is left. Apart from that, dissolution is done. Dissolution is 95% done. And according to me, exam question is already, I mean, whatever we've done, but the exams again. But maximum loss method also I will do in the next session, right? See you. Thank you. Good night.